For the first time in years, a high-level Chinese delegation is rushing to New Delhi, not to threaten, but to agree. The same China that blocks India at the UN is now suddenly supporting India's global leadership. Why? Because Beijing is terrified. They are not here for friendship, they are here because the walls are closing in. Let's decode the game. The headline seems simple enough. China joins India's AI Impact Summit, but in geopolitics, nothing is ever simple. If you look at the timing, it tells a much darker story. For the last 5 years, we have seen nothing but aggression. Soldiers clashing in Galwan, cyber attacks, and a complete freeze in diplomatic warmth. Yet, suddenly, on February 10th, the Executive Vice Foreign Minister of China, Ma Zhaozhou, lands in New Delhi for a strategic dialogue. And just days later, another delegation led by their Vice Minister of Science and Technology, Chen Chia-chang, is confirmed to attend the AI summit. Why the sudden change of heart? Is this a change of heart or a change of strategy? To understand this, we have to look at the power dynamics. The United States has launched a total tech war against China. They have blocked high-end chips, they have restricted AI investment, and they are building a coalition to isolate Beijing's technology. The US delegation is also coming to the same summit in New Delhi, led by Michael Kratios from the White House. This is where the realism kicks in. China knows it is being encircled. If the United States writes the global rules for artificial intelligence, China loses. If the West sets the standards, Chinese tech becomes illegal in half the world. Beijing desperately needs a voice that represents the global South, a voice that is not America. That voice is India. They are not in Delhi because they like us. They are in Delhi because they need us to break the American containment grid. Now, I want you to visualize the map of Asia for a moment. Picture the Himalayas. For decades, this mountain range has been a wall of silence and tension. The Chinese have built infrastructure on their side, threatening the Siliguri corridor, the chicken's neck. But look at the digital map. The world is dividing into two internets, one led by Washington, one led by Beijing. India sits right in the middle. We are the swing state. We are the only country with the scale to tilt the balance. If India adopts American AI standards, China is isolated in Asia. If India insists on inclusive standards, China gets a lifeline. This geographical reality is forcing Beijing to soften its tone, and the hypocrisy is blinding. Just look at the statement released after the strategic dialogue. The Chinese side suddenly says they, quote, understand and respect India's aspirations for UNSC membership. Let me repeat that. China, the only country that has consistently blocked India's permanent seat at the UN Security Council, is now saying they respect our aspirations. They are also supporting India's chairmanship of BRICS. Why now? Because talk is cheap. They are trading vague diplomatic promises for tangible survival in the tech war. They want India to keep the door open for Chinese technology, for Chinese data flows, and in exchange, they will give us words about peace and tranquility at the border. The reality is, China is playing a double game. While their diplomats smile in Hyderabad House, their military infrastructure in Aksai Chin remains active. This is classic Sun Tzu. Pretend to be weak when you are strong, and pretend to be friendly when you are desperate. But here is the danger for the West. The United States assumes India is a natural ally against China. But India has its own interests. We are not a junior partner in NATO. We are a pole in the multipolar world. When the US delegation lands in Delhi, they will see their arch-rivals sitting at the same table, invited by India. This sends a massive signal to Washington. It says, do not take us for granted. If you deny us technology, if you sanction our companies, we have other options. We can talk to your enemy. This brings us to the most critical part of this analysis, the India angle. What does this mean for Bharat? What does this mean for our national interest? First, this is a vindication of India's strategic autonomy. In a world demanding you pick a side, India has chosen the side of India. By hosting both the US and China, we become the diplomatic capital of the world. We are the venue where the Cold War rivals meet. Second, we must look at the specific outcomes. The resumption of Kailash Mansarovar Yatra is a good cultural win. The talk of an updated air services agreement is good for business. But the core issue remains the border. We must not be seduced by the thaw in tech diplomacy. Technology is the new nuclear weapon. AI will decide the future of warfare, of economies, of propaganda. If China is allowed to embed its standards into India's digital infrastructure under the guise of cooperation, we compromise our long-term security. On the flip side, if we completely shut out China, we become dependent on American tech monopolies who can turn off the switch whenever they disagree with our policies. So, what is the strategic lesson here? India must use this moment of Chinese weakness. China is hurting economically, the real estate sector is in crisis, the youth unemployment is high, and American sanctions are biting. They need the Indian market. We should extract maximum concessions. You want to talk about AI? Fine. First, disengage completely from Debsang and Demchok. You want our support in multilateral forums? Fine. Stop blocking our terrorist listings at the UN. We should treat this summit not as a celebration of friendship, but as a business negotiation. We have the leverage, we have the market, we have the diplomatic credibility. The thaw is not a sign of peace. It is a sign that the pressure is working. We must keep the pressure on. We must build our own AI capabilities, our own Atmanirbharta in computing power, so that 10 years from now, we are not choosing between American AI and Chinese AI, but exporting Indian AI to the world. The game has changed, the board is set, and for the first time in a long time, India is moving the pieces. Now, a quick question for you to test your geopolitical knowledge. Which of the following bodies is responsible for global telecommunication standards, often a battleground for US-China tech rivalry? A. The World Trade Organization, B. The International Telecommunications Union, C. The World Health Organization, D. The International Court of Justice. Let me know your answer in the comments below. In geopolitics, there are no permanent friends and no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. Thank you for listening.